Episode 15, The Chili Cook-Off.
Fall had finally taken hold of Barton County. Cool mornings, warm afternoons, and enough color in the trees to make it look like the whole town had caught fire. Leaves skittered down the pavement, crunching under the tires of trucks heading to the hardware store. You could smell smoke from the first wood fires of the season and hear the distant hum of someone testing their leaf blower for no reason at all. At Frank's place, the garage door rolled up with a slow creak, spilling sunlight across the oil-stained concrete. Frank stood there in his flannel and jeans, nursing a mug of coffee, staring out like a man getting ready for battle. The kind of battle fought with beans, meat, and misplaced pride. Hudson appeared on the steps, camera already rolling. Episode 15, he whispered dramatically. The Barton County Chili Cook-Off. Dad's rockin' lumberjack vibes, Mama's in full war mode, and Uncle Ricky's pretending shirtless counts as an apron. As if on cue, Diane stormed onto the porch, cigarette hanging, a heavy stockpot clutched like a trophy. Frank, you better move that junk off the benches. Tonight's the cook-off, and I am not losing to Marlene Kincaid's church chili again. Frank didn't even blink. You lost last year because yours tasted like ketchup and broken dreams. It was robbed, she shot back. Ricky strutted up the drive, shirtless and grinning, a six-pack dangling from one hand. Did somebody say chili? Because I was born to burn tongues and break spirits. Harry shuffled out behind him, mason jar in hand, already half full of something flammable. If a frog had wings, it wouldn't bump its ass. But even wings wouldn't save Ricky's taste buds. Hudson zoomed in. Papa, that's the quote of the day. Frank sighed. Fine, I'll enter, too. Been a while since I ran the Neon Moon kitchen, but I can still stir a pot. Three-way showdown? Ricky hollered. Actually, Diane interrupted, pointing across the street. Marlene's in it again. And she dragged half the neighborhood with her. Across the road, Ms. Kincaid was already setting up a folding table under her porch banner that read, Marlene's Magnificent Bean Feast. She waved smugly. I hope you like texture, Diane. Diane growled under her breath. Oh, it's on. By noon, Frank's garage had become chili headquarters. Hudson whispered into his mic. 3 family recipes, 3 egos, and 1 nosy neighbor. Tonight, someone's going home smelling like regret. By afternoon, the yard looked like a fairground. Folding tables lined the driveway, each holding a bubbling pot and a sign that screamed personality. Frank's Reed, Frank's Smokehouse Classic, Ricky's, Freedom Fuel, no beans, no fear, Diane's Mama's secret weapon. And down the line were the neighborhood challengers. Marlene Kincaid's Church Champion Chili, Earl Tippin's Cowboy Kick, Nancy Joe's Sweet Heat, and Big Kenny's Mystery Meat Mix. Frank sniffed the air, already regretting agreeing to this. Ricky stirred his pot like a man trying to keep it from attacking him. Diane guarded hers with a spoon like a night watchman. And across the way, Ms. Kincaid was adjusting her pearls and lecturing Nancy Joe about presentation. Now, dear, Marlene said, real chili has grace. You can't just throw things in a pot like it's a barn stew. Nancy Joe rolled her eyes. Grace ain't gonna win you this year, honey. Harry shuffled in with his chair and settled in the shade. This smells like bad decisions and heartburn already. Doug pulled up in his truck with a 64-ounce soda and announced, Judge has arrived. Not this year, Diane barked. It's anonymous voting. Everyone gets a slip and drops it in the box. Doug frowned. So democracy ruined my authority again, huh? Story of your life, Frank muttered. As the sun dipped lower, the garage came alive. Hudson ran around filming the chaos, Ricky nearly catching his sleeve on fire, Diane screaming about her spice ratio, Frank working with quiet precision. Larson waddled between the tables, tail low, sniffing the grass for dropped crumbs. At one point, he swiped a sausage chunk from Kenny's mystery meat pot, immediately regretted it, and waddled back to the garage to lay down and groan dramatically. Live from Frank's place, Hudson narrated, Larson has fallen in battle. Marty arrived with his guitar strumming softly. Cheryl Ann set out bowls. and by the time the streetlights flickered on, the whole neighborhood was ready. The Barton County Chili Cook-Off officially began at sundown. The air buzzed with laughter, smoke, and the sounds of spoons clinking against steel pots. A banner hung between two trees. Welcome to Chili Night. Winner gets bragging rights till Christmas. One by one, neighbors filled their paper bowls from each contestant's pot. They'd wander off to lawn chairs, whispering conspiratorially, then write their votes on folded slips of paper and drop them into an old Folgers coffee can labeled official ballot box. Who made the one that tastes like jet fuel? Someone shouted. That's Ricky, Frank yelled from his table. Drink milk, not water. Harry tried to hide a laugh. Over at Marlene's booth, she was doing a full PR campaign, offering samples, handing out flyers, even posing by her crockpot for Hudson's camera. Remember, folks, she said sweetly, presentation is half the battle. Yeah, Diane muttered. And flavor's the other half. You keep losing? Nancy Joe's chili was sweet enough to qualify as dessert. Earl Tippins tasted like someone grilled in a rainstorm. And Big Kenny's. Nobody could quite identify what meat was in it. Don't ask. Just enjoy, he told one neighbor, winking. It's all protein. Meanwhile, Frank stayed calm, stirring, smiling, handing out careful portions. Balance, that's the trick, he told Hudson. You want people to go back for seconds? Not to the hospital. Good advice, Ricky muttered, chugging water after testing his own batch. As the tasting ended, the crowd gathered near the ballot box. Kids ran circles around the chairs. Harry started muttering about recounts before the votes were even counted. Doug banged a spoon on a bucket. All right, folks, the results are in. Doug rattled the old Folgers can like he was hosting the county fair raffle. All right, folks, he announced. 7 contestants, 1 winner, and hopefully no emergency room visits. Here we go. He drew the slips out one by one. Tippins, 2 votes. Nancy Joe, 3. Big Kenny, 1 vote and a note that says, never again. Ricky, 4, all written in all caps. Diane, 5. Marlena, 6. Marlene adjusted her pearls and puffed up. As expected, Doug paused for effect. And Frank, 9. The garage exploded in applause and laughter. Ricky fell to his knees, fake crying into his hands. Harry raised his jar and yelled, Justice tastes smoky. Frank just chuckled, raising his ladle in mock victory. Well, folks, looks like smoke beats beans every time. Diane crossed her arms, cigarette bouncing between her lips. Something ain't right. I see Marlene stuffing her own votes in that box. Marlene gasped. Excuse me, I don't stuff. I earned every one of those votes fair and square. You earned them by bribing folks with your cornbread muffins, Diane snapped. You're the Martha Stewart of manipulation. At least my cornbread doesn't taste like sawdust and shame, Marlene shot back. Careful, Diane said, stepping closer, or I'll show you what sawdust tastes like for real. Frank tried not to laugh as he wiped down his pot. Ladies, please. This was supposed to bring the community together. Yeah, Ricky chimed in. Together in violence. Marty hit a rimshot chord on his guitar. Round 2, chili fight. The neighbors howled with laughter as Marlene and Diane kept bickering, half insults, half threats, and a whole lot of cigarette smoke. As the crowd finally thinned and the laughter faded, Frank sat back in his folding chair, cracked a beer, and tapped his phone to start the playlist. The familiar twang of Sammy Kershaw's Queen of My Double-Wide trailer drifted into the cool air. Ricky flopped into the chair next to him, half grinning. You know what, brother? I think Mona just started Barton County's first chili Cold War. Frank smirked. As long as I keep the trophy, she can start all the wars she wants. Hudson filmed them quietly, catching the glow of the garage light, the smoke, the laughter that hadn't quite faded. Frank took one last sip, watching his mom stomp toward the porch, muttering about corruption and small-town voting. He smiled. Another year, another cook-off, and somehow, we're still all alive. Ricky raised his can. Barely. Hudson lowered his phone. whispering his final line for the episode. One cook-off, one victory. One neighborhood argument loud enough to wake the next county. This was life at Frank's place.